heavy rains to Kauai and possibly Oahu. Our first alert weather team has been keeping a close eye on the forecast. Meteorologist Drew Davis joins us now with the details. Drew?
Aloha, Ashley. We've got another round of active weather as we're going forward. Just taking a look at this next low pressure system and cold front that's developing just off towards the northwest. This is slowly going to be moving closer to Kauai as we're going into late tonight, and will stick around Kauai and Oahu throughout Wednesday and Thursday. You see a lot of activity, lightning getting picked up on the satellite. You can see some heavier showers just off of the west and southwest of Kauai. However, it's relatively dry out there right now. Not much rainfall coming down over the Garden Isle. We've seen a few pop-up showers with these southerly winds over the leeward portions of Oahu over the last hour or so. Relatively quiet over the rest of the state. Coming up in my full forecast, I'll give you the breakdown on the First Alert Futurecast and tell you how much rainfall you can expect.
Drew, thank you. Now to Waialaiki Neighborhood Park, where an HFD rescue operation is underway near the Kuli'o'o Ridge Trail. This all started yesterday at around 5:30 p.m. Officials say a couple in their 30s got into trouble when the woman slipped down from the summit and her husband went down to help her. After searching for hours, crews had to suspend operations due to the darkness and weather conditions at around 2 this morning. The search resumed at first light. Now we're told the couple is in a precarious location with steep terrain and thick overhead canopy. They have limited cell service, but their phone battery is very low. We're going to pass along any updates as we get them. Well, there's just in. Prosecutors say the son of Hollywood director Rob Reiner will be charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the killing of his parents. The 32-year-old also faces a special allegation of using a dangerous and deadly weapon, that being a knife, in the crime. Gwen Baumgartner has the update.
No trespassing and private property signs are taped to the front gates of the Reiner home in Los Angeles, where the bodies of Rob and Michelle were found Sunday with multiple stab wounds. Their 32-year-old son Nick lived there too and is now in custody.
He was subsequently booked for murder.
Nick Reiner has apparently retained high-profile defense attorney Alan Jackson, who secured an acquittal for Massachusetts murder suspect Karen Reed. Jackson told a Los Angeles judge his client would not appear in court Tuesday due to medical issues.
He has not yet been medically cleared, so we will be here hopefully tomorrow.
The 32-year-old was last seen with his parents Saturday night at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party. 2 sources there say the family argued. One telling People magazine Nick was freaking everyone out, acting crazy, kept asking people if they were famous. The Reiner family issued a brief statement following their deaths, but has not made any comment about Nick's arrest. Fans are grieving the loss of a Hollywood legend whose work they know by heart.
I and all my friends, we quote the lines from the movie all the time. My mind is just blown. And not just that he's gone, but how the circumstances.
Entertainment Tonight co-host Kevin Frazier explained part of Reiner's impact.
He brought all these people, these things to life, and he was just so damn good at it.
Tributes continue to pour in for Reiner and his wife as we wait to learn more about the unfolding legal case. Gwen Baumgartner, CBS News, Los Angeles.
A former Tripler Army Medical Center gynecologist is now being hit with a new lawsuit. Dr. Blaine McGraw is already facing sex crime allegations from about 100 women. And now 7 new patients, including one treated on Oahu, say McGraw secretly recorded and groped them while they were pregnant, had just given birth, or were in the ICU. The other 6 women were treated in Texas at Fort Hood, where McGraw was working before he was arrested earlier this month. So far, the Army has notified about 1,600 patients treated by McGraw at Tripler from 2019 to 2023. We now know the teen who was shot and killed last week at the Halava housing complex. He's been identified as Aaron Lucky. Police say the 19-year-old was chased down before he was fatally shot late Thursday. The search continues for 3 suspects who left the scene in a light-colored 4-door vehicle. If you can help, please call Honolulu Crime Stoppers at the number there on your screen. The DNA company Ancestry.com has tightened its rules for law enforcement. Lynn Kawano explains how that could affect cases in Hawaii.
DNA databases are necessary to the technology that has helped solve murders, freed the wrongfully convicted, and identified human remains. 19-year-old Nancy Anderson was stabbed to death in 1972 in her Waikiki apartment. Genetic genealogy testing identified her alleged killer nearly 50 years later. The 78-year-old died at the Oahu Community Correctional Center in 2023, awaiting trial.
We waited a lifetime to get an answer, and these genetic genealogists, they're finding these horrendous people, these people that have, serial killers and people that have committed violent crimes against society and against families like ours.
But one of the biggest DNA databases, Ancestry, recently revised its terms and conditions, making it clear that law enforcement cannot access its records without a court order.
We as a society need to support them, give them the tools. They're not only finding violent criminals, but they're helping to find people that have been convicted wrongly and are truly innocent.
The same technology helped find the suspect in the Dana Ireland rape and murder in 1991. Genetic genealogy DNA identified Albert Laurel Jr. as the sole contributor of the DNA from the Big Island crime. 3 men were convicted 25 years ago, even though their DNA was not found in any of the evidence at the crime scene or on the victim.
Had it not been for genetic genealogy and accessing private DNA databases, we never would have found him.
At some point when the case has gone completely cold, they're not looking for the defendant, they're looking to try to find somebody that is related to the DNA sample that they have. And then that only points them in the right direction.
Here's how the technology works. A DNA sample left behind at a crime scene is loaded onto a database which identifies distant relatives. That provides a family tree for the genetic expert to follow. Looking at age, sex, other physical traits, and location, they determine who could have committed the crime.
There's a debate even amongst us, those that do innocence work and cold case work, about whether genetic genealogy is ethical and whether or not it should be used.
While the change at Ancestry could be a roadblock, there are still other public databases that can be used. I'm Lynn Kawano, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Lynn. What's a done deal on Maui? The mayor signed Bill 9 yesterday, which will turn thousands of vacation rentals into residential housing. Chelsea Davis has both sides.
This was a highly contentious issue. Supporters of Bill 9 are celebrating, but opponents of the bill tell me they're fearful for what's to come. Despite the mixed reaction, thousands of vacation rentals here in Maui County will be phased out. Bill 9 phases out more than 6,000 transient vacation rentals or TVRs in apartment zoned areas. Mayor Richard Bisson proposed this bill after thousands were left homeless by the 2023 fire disaster, exacerbating the island's housing crisis. Economists say the policy could increase long-term housing stock by about 13%. That's equivalent to a decade's worth of new housing development. Those who oppose this bill say it won't work. They say it will only bring on lawsuits, devastate county revenue, and create more unemployment.
This has been a very challenging proposal, one of the hardest that I have come across. And as I said earlier, I don't think this is going to work. I really don't.
For everybody watching, just know we're only at the front end of what we hope to achieve for our home and our town. And it's time for all of us to stand up and rise for what we believe in to protect this place.
The county says even after the phasing out is complete, approximately 7,000 TVR parcels, along with thousands of units in hotels and more than 2,000 timeshares and bread and breakfast operations, will continue to operate here in Maui County. The units that are being phased out will no longer be allowed to operate in West Maui starting in 2029, for the rest of the county starting in 2031. Reporting in Wailuku, I'm Chelsea Davis for Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Chelsea. Kamehameha Schools is getting support on the national level for its admissions policy. The Democratic National Committee has unanimously passed a resolution condemning a lawsuit against the school and reaffirming the political status and sovereignty of the Native Hawaiian people. Students for Fair Admissions filed a lawsuit in October claiming the policy, which gives preference to Native Hawaiian students, is discriminatory. Now, that policy dates back to a directive from the school's founder, Princess Bernice Pauahi, in 1883. Well, despite President Trump's insistence the U.S. economy is the strongest in history, long-awaited jobs numbers show a U.S. labor market that is softening. This as millions of Americans face higher health premiums after House Speaker Johnson says he won't allow a vote on extending Obamacare tax credits. Gary Grumbuck has more from Washington.
The government today releasing new jobs numbers in line with predictions that the jobs market is still on shaky ground. The October numbers, delayed by the government shutdown, show the country shed about 105,000 jobs that month, largely a reflection of the federal workers who took the Department of Government Efficiency's buyout. 64,000 jobs were added in November, a slight rebound, but unemployment did tick up to 4.6%. Senior economic analyst Mark Hamrick.
The job market has gone from red hot to cooling to cool to perhaps frozen.
The White House downplaying concerns, calling it a strong jobs report. Vice President J.D. Vance blaming Democrats for the economic woes.
So if you look at every single affordability crisis that we talk about in the United States of America today, it's because we inherited a nightmare of an economy from Joe Biden.
Democrats don't see it that way.
The American people know that the policies of Trump and Republicans are crushing people economically.
Less than a year until the midterm elections, an NBC News SurveyMonkey poll shows the economy is the #1 issue for Americans, with health care and threats to democracy rounding out the top 3. It comes as millions of Americans will be paying more for their health care come January. Today, House Speaker Mike Johnson said he won't call for a vote to extend the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare tax credits that expire this month, guaranteeing premiums will go up for millions. Johnson saying GOP leadership and moderates could not come to an agreement.
We looked for a way to try to allow for that pressure release valve, and it just was not to be. We worked on it all the way through the weekend, in fact.
There is still a chance Democrats can force a vote before Congress goes home for the holiday. A holiday economists see as the light at the end of the tunnel, as one-time price increases of Trump's tariffs are absorbed.
We should be in a better place with the broader economy, helped by the tax cut.
Now, while we won't get December's job numbers until next month, the U.S. economy so far has created 1.4 million fewer jobs this year than at this point in 2024. Gary Grumbach, NBC News, Washington.
Meanwhile, Hawaii's minimum wage is going up again. Starting January 1st, workers statewide will earn at least $16 an hour. It's the third step in a scheduled increase that reaches $18 an hour by the year 2028. The state will enforce this by setting a minimum $500 fine for employers who violate wage and hour laws.
Top officials brief lawmakers on U.S. military action against suspected drug boats. I'm Erica Brown with more on that briefing and reaction from Capitol Hill.
Also ahead on This Is Now, mixed reactions as Lahaina Harbor reopens for the first time since the wildfires in a limited capacity. We'll be right back. Trump administration is defending attacks on alleged Venezuelan drug boats. The military has carried out more than 24 attacks, but there are questions about the legality of the action. Erica Brown has more from Capitol Hill.
Top Trump administration officials briefed lawmakers on Capitol Hill Tuesday about U.S. military operations targeting alleged drug boats, including recent strikes on 3 boats in the Pacific that killed 8.
Provided a lot of information, obviously classified, so I can't share it with you, but obviously some will agree, some will disagree, but it's important we keep Congress informed.
But some lawmakers were dissatisfied with the briefing and continue to question the legality of the strikes.
We're all in favor of stopping the flow of narcotics, cocaine and fentanyl, but there are ways to do it without killing in this kind of combatant situation.
Others suggested U.S. actions against Venezuela don't go far enough. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina says he wants to see Venezuela's leader Nicolas Maduro ousted.
You cannot allow this man to be standing after this display of force, and I did not get a very good answer as to what happens next.
The briefings come amid the ongoing scrutiny over a lethal second strike on a suspected drug boat carried out after those on board survived the first strike. Now lawmakers are pushing for the release of the full footage of that deadly September 2nd strike.
The administration came to this briefing empty-handed.
Administration officials say only members of the House and Senate Armed Services Committees will be shown footage of that second strike.
We're not going to release a top secret, full unedited video of that to the general public.
President Trump has threatened more U.S. military action in Venezuela, saying strikes on land targets will begin soon. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Here at home, the reopening of Lahaina Harbor yesterday was met with protests, but also high hopes for an important industry. Daryl Huff has both sides.
To many people, this site is long overdue. Commercial boats waiting for paying customers once again moored in Lahaina Small Boat Harbor, which had been one of the most horrifying scenes of destruction on August 8, 2023. The owner of Hawaii Ocean Project Tours is among the first to come back with his tour catamaran after being in the harbor that horrible evening.
I lost my home, I lost my shop, I lost a lot of my neighbors. I rescued a number of people out of here, saved their lives.
The comeback has been slow. The cleanup of sunken boats and destroyed piers had to be done with care for the ocean environment. It took a year to repair the fuel dock, a long wait for workers who returned today.
We're excited. We're also, we're nervous. It's very sensitive for the community, and we want to make sure that we honor the community the way we come back.
In anticipation of added tourist traffic, the historic and sensitive buildings and artifacts were protected by barriers or caution tape, and pedestrians restricted to pathways. Sail Maui will also provide a video to customers.
Asking our guests to come back with mindfulness, with respect, and keep their photos and their videos till they get on the boat and stay on the path.
But to some, it's not enough protection from what they think is too early for tourists to return to the center of the burn zone.
It is not up to the fake state or the county or any faction thereof to dictate when and how our sacred spaces are available for oogling and ogling by eyes that are hungry for ownership and hands that do not know respect and reciprocal relationships.
Persons who don't want tourism here are just chasing away our young people. We'd have to have jobs for our young people.
The county as well as the state should have mitigated this thing right by getting everybody to the table so we can talk about our concerns. Nobody was awarded that opportunity. So that's why I think it's escalating the way it is escalating now.
State harbor officials called the reopening limited. The harbor doesn't even have working navigational lighting, but the weather made the opening more gradual than expected. A small proportion of the potential customers were expected for afternoon sales that must end before dark. Most of the boats were actually there to shelter from the storm, not to do business. Daryl Huff, Hawaii News Now.
And stick around. Coming up after the break, we've got your full first alert weather forecast. We're tracking another front that's going to move in tonight, and stick around throughout Wednesday and Thursday. The details are just ahead.
First Alert Weather with Drew Davis.
All right, well, the flood watch ended at 6 a.m. this morning, but we've got another chance for heavy rainfall, potentially some isolated thunderstorms from this next front that's moving in. Here's our First Alert Weather headlines. That front moves in tonight, sticks around throughout Wednesday and Thursday. Heavy rainfall and isolated thunderstorms are possible, and also expecting sun and light trade winds to return as we're going into the weekend. A quick look outside. Again, we've got this low pressure system off towards our northwest. The remnants of that old front that caused all the rainfall over the weekend and yesterday still hanging around the state. This next front starting to move in closer. We're seeing lightning actually getting picked up just off towards our northwest, but most of us are relatively dry. We've seen a few sprinkles over the leeward portions up Oahu. These convective cells moving up from the south because of these coastal winds, introducing more humidity into the atmosphere. And then out there, let's just walk through. Wednesday tonight, we're watching that front moving in mostly over the western and western half of the state, getting as far east as Oahu right now. That's been pretty consistent in the weather models compared to today, yesterday, and Sunday, potentially bringing heavy rainfall for Oahu as we're going into tomorrow afternoon and sticking around throughout Thursday. So active, unsettled weather is expected all the way into Thursday. And by the time we get to Friday, things are going to dry out a little bit. A few showers possible over for Maui. Hawaii Island seeing a little bit of rainfall out there as well. But those will be mostly pop-up showers, kind of like what we're seeing over Oahu right now. Our rainfall totals from yesterday. This is from the Hawaii Climate Data Portal. Not much rainfall over Hawaii Island or Maui. Moving down to Oahu, a few sprinkles along the Waianae Mountain Range and along the central portions of the island. Most of the rainfall yesterday came from that moisture band that set up over the western parts of Kauai, giving some heavier showers over there. You can see all the way up to 2.5 inches of rainfall out there from yesterday. Winds outside, pretty breezy southerly winds around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Again, this is introducing that moisture and instability in the atmosphere that we've been talking about, priming it for the chance for isolated thunderstorms and heavier rainfall. Tuesday around 6 p.m. we're going to continue to see breezy trade winds all the way into Wednesday. A little bit lighter as we're going into Thursday and Friday. I've been talking about the return of light trade winds on Saturday and Sunday of this week. Our surf and shoreline forecast for this afternoon: north-facing shores around 7 to 10 feet, west-facing shores around 4 to 6. Another advisory level swell is going to be moving in Wednesday because of that front, sending a lot of energy towards the north and west-facing shores. A few showers today, like we're seeing out there right now. Wednesday and Thursday currently highlighted in red. We will likely see a flood watch, potentially see a flood watch go up from the National Weather Service. If that happens, it'll be a first alert weather day. Tomorrow, light trades going into the weekend. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Some good news now. The Honolulu Police Department held a promotion ceremony this morning at the Alapa'i Station to honor 9 newly promoted sworn personnel. The promotions include 3 assistant chiefs, 4 majors, and 2 captains. Congratulations to them all. And Christmas came early for patients at a children's hospital.
With the help of Denver firefighters, Buddy the Elf, the Grinch, and Santa Claus rappelled down the side of the children's hospital in Aurora, Colorado. And there was a parade where the famous trio came riding in on fire trucks. It brought some holiday joy to the patients and their families. I think that'd be pretty cool. The Grinch, I wouldn't want him to steal all my presents.
That's true. Thanks for watching, everybody.